video is going to show you how to look expensive wearing Amazon clothes. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to show you some tips and tricks on how you can look expensive while wearing cheaper clothing, let's say from Amazon, because I have 12 really cute spring dresses that I want to share with you guys, but I also wanted to share some tips and tricks on how to make them look your best while wearing them. And quick disclaimer, I have my Invisalign in, so if I look or sound a little bit different, that is why. All right, so first, let's talk about what to do as soon as your Amazon clothing arrives. These are steps that I take every single time I get a new package in from Amazon before I even think about wearing them. When I first open up the package, I always give the piece a really thorough look. I just take a look at the general stitching, especially the fabric. I am very particular. Like, I don't mind wearing polyester, but if it is extremely like polyester based and shiny or feels like a raincoat, that's just not going to work for me, so I typically send those back. I also take a look at the stitching just to see the overall quality of the piece. Now, it is an Amazon piece, so I'm not expecting perfection, but I just look and see if there's any areas particularly that may need a little more attention. Quick real life story, I ordered some Amazon swimwear last year. I gave them all a thorough look through because I was already a little weary about ordering Amazon bathing suits, and I'm definitely glad I did because two of the pieces had been obviously worn. There was self-tanner on the inside. There were hairs stuck to the little sticky protector thing. So yeah, just proceed with caution when it comes to ordering swimwear. Make sure you give them a good look through and always wash it before you wear it. Before you wear anything from Amazon, I would encourage you to steam it. Even if it looks okay and it's not super wrinkly, the steam is just going to kind of help loosen up the fabric. These things have been stored and packed tight in a warehouse. They smell a little funky, so I always steam each piece. That will help definitely make it look more expensive. Another thing you want to do if you want your Amazon clothes to look expensive before you wear them, you want to give it a good look through and cut away any loose strings. I know a lot of times my Amazon clothes have random strings that just need to be cut away, and that will definitely help make your look more expensive. Next piece is this adorable jumpsuit. I love this color. It's like the perfect mix between a blue and green. Like, I'm just obsessed with this piece. I do think I need to size down to a small. I got a medium, and when it comes to the top, it's just a little too much fabric. So I'm going to try the size smaller, or my normal size. And I just love how flowy the bottoms are. Definitely steam it. So you can see this has a wrinkle through the side, and I think if you just give it a good steam, it will look much more expensive. For my accessories, I went with a strappy sandal. I didn't want anything too chunky or clunky on the bottom, and I still wanted it to be casual, so I didn't want to go with a wedge. This bag is actually from Walmart, under $10, so you don't have to have expensive accessories to look put together. I actually found out too, you can take out this clutch and use it as a crossbody. It comes with a longer strap, so if you don't love the handles one day, or if you want something more crossbody, this is a very versatile piece, and I think that's really fun. You can also attach the strap to this bag as well, but I just love this piece. It comes in a ton of colors. Here is a better look at the top half. I love these precious little ruffle sleeves. They do give you more coverage in the shoulders, which I'm always more comfortable with. And I love just the smocking detail. That's a very big trend that you'll see on pieces throughout the season. So for my accessories, I went with something a little more fun. These are from Kendra Scott with the druzy piece, and I actually matched them to my bracelet as well. I just love how simple this jewelry piece is. So it's not taking away attention from the overall look, but just complementing it. And then the back of this piece doesn't come down too low, so it won't show your bra. Next, before you wear the items, you want to spray the items down or wash them. If you cannot wash them and launder them, or if you're scared to and you have like an event or you're going on vacation and you just don't have the time to do that, at least spray it down with a good fabric spray, because you need to remove that kind of storage warehouse smell that nearly all Amazon clothes have. You may be surprised, but as soon as you open it, you may be more aware of it, and then the next day you may not be as aware of that smell, and it's just because your body accommodated to it. But you definitely don't want to be rocking Amazon warehouse smell around your friends when you leave the house. So just give it a little spray. Another tip too, you could also use some alcohol. If you have a very concentrated vodka alcohol. You can put that in a spray bottle and spray it over your clothes, and the alcohol will actually evaporate while also removing the smell with it. So that's another tip to remove odors from your clothing, but I prefer the fabric spray when I can. So now that you've taken a good look at them, you've given them a fresh steam, and you've taken care of the smell or washed them, now it's time to wear them and style them to look a little more expensive. I think this is a good option if you can wear dresses to work, because it does have a very appropriate length, but I also think it would work well if you have a more casual spring wedding or some sort of, you know, kind of nicer shower or things like that. You could also wear this to church as well if you're comfortable with the somewhat sheer sleeves. So this dress does hit right above my knee. It does have a liner underneath as well that's a tad bit shorter, but I don't mind that because when you sit, it's not going to show or like be longer than the dress. The tiered skirt is actually attached to the liner, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because I hate when liners move and shift under a dress. I actually return every single piece that has that, but this one stays put. The only thing is it does take a little bit getting used to when you first put it on, because you can kind of feel that seam stitched right below your hips. So because this dress hits right above my knee, I wanted to keep my legs longer by going with a nude skin tone heel. This one has just 2 simple straps, and I love the color of these. They're also very comfortable because of the heel height. So for my accessories, I kept it simple and classic. I don't have any statement pieces. I think when it comes to looking more expensive, sticking with the classics will always help elevate your look. So I just have a thickened hoop earring, and then my bracelet is this classic 2-tone piece. It's very similar to David Yurman, kind of a look for less. I'm contemplating getting the Yurman piece, so it's nice to kind of try this one out until I can save up for that one. But I think going with timeless accessories are what will help elevate your look and make it look more expensive. And then for my bag, I went with this classic, more structured bag from Tory Burch. I don't think you need name brand items to look expensive, but I thought just the overall structure of this piece helped elevate the look. And I also wanted to point out there's no sheerness at the top. If you do want to wear this to work, you're not going to see your bra straps if you keep it very light. I think if you go with something darker, you will definitely see it. I have a sticky bra on, which I'll link the one I wear down in the description box. I have tried the Amazon sticky bras and they did not work well, at least the ones that I tried. A few important things to note when it comes to Amazon clothes: always double check for any sort of visible panty line or visible undergarments. Amazon clothing can be a little more sheer, especially in brighter lights, so make sure to double check that before you leave the house. You can also play it safe by wearing a slip or the proper shapewear underneath, just to be 100% certain. So I'll link some good slips and shapewear down in the description box. My Invisalign lisp is coming out. So next is this really adorable white dress. I think this is cute for any bride to be out there, but it would also work great as a beach cover-up. I know it's a little bit extra, but I love the palm detail. It is a little more on the sheer side, so that is my next tip: is if any material is just a little cheap and too thin, just add a slip underneath. I think this would look much more expensive if you had a white slip underneath and make that material a little brighter. I think that would just elevate this look a little bit more. I paired it with this blush handbag. I think this is very similar to a Chloe kind of vibe. So I adore this neckline. I think it's very chic. It also is going to keep you cool in the heat once it starts to warm up. I think you can even dress it down like with a messy bun, since it does have a little bit of a neck detail if you want to show that off. And the reason I think this can work as a pool cover up is just because of this material through here, if you're at a party or something like that, or on vacation or on your honeymoon. But if I was wearing this out and about, I would definitely add a slip. So I'll show you guys what the difference makes when you add that slip underneath to make it look a little more expensive. So you can instantly see the difference, and mine is just a cream material. I think this would pop even more if I had a white one, but overall I think something is better than nothing. It makes it look much more expensive. It's not going to show through, and it's not really showing that sheer cheap material underneath anymore as well. So another thing I always look for when it comes to styling more affordable clothing is the scrunch. Typically you can find these along the waistband, and I just find that when you're not paying for higher quality, you know, workmanship when it comes to the clothes, these tend to look a little cheaper because they're done quicker, they're not done as carefully, and so the fabric is scrunched up a little bit and the fabric doesn't drape as well. So I typically always cover those up either with a belt or just making sure the fabric is folded over that to conceal it, because I do think it looks a little more expensive when you hide that. Next dress is this green midi dress. This is like a linen blend material. It's very breathable, and I would say it's probably going to get a little wrinkly when you sit, but that's just the type of material that it is. I love the pockets on the front, the buttons on the front, and I bought this one to be an example for the waistline. A lot of times I don't like the scrunchy material, but it's actually a very nice clean line on this dress, so I didn't feel the need to belt it, but a lot of times I like to belt those to hide it. And this one's a slightly higher waistline as well, so it's in between like an empire waist and landing right at my hips, so the belt just did not work over it, and along with the buttons. And just a quick FYI, these buttons are not functional. So if you're breastfeeding or want these buttons to function, they do not. Just a little heads up on that. So this next tip can apply to pretty much any piece, and that is just to make it work for you and what you're comfortable with. So we all have, you know, different priorities when it comes to what we're comfortable wearing and whether things are appropriate or not. So this dress has a very high slit, and for the right occasion I don't necessarily mind that, but since this is a very casual dress, so personally I would prefer the slit to stop where the liner is. So I'm actually going to take it to a tailor and just have her stitch up about 2 inches there, just so it goes a little bit lower in the leg, and that's really not a very expensive adjustment to make at the tailor. So don't swear off things just because they need 1 or 2 tweaks. I love the eyelet detail and these pearls. Oh my gosh, they're obviously very fake pearls. If you did want to elevate this dress a little more to look more expensive, you could easily switch out the buttons and opt for a little more expensive version of this kind of pearl detail. They do feel fairly cheap. To me, it does not bother me, but for those of you who are handy, you could also make those little adjustments like switching out buttons and things like that to make the pieces look more expensive. I just adore this dress. It is so cute. It's like a peachy pink eyelet, and I also love the scallop detail on the bottom half. So for this next dress, I actually ordered the wrong size because I feel like when you wear clothes that are too small, they actually cheapen your look. Even if it's a $500 dress, it's just not going to do you right if it does not fit right. So this is the extra small, and the telltale sign to know when items are too small are looking for these horizontal lines. So you can see this dress, it fits all right in my top because I am smaller up there, but when it comes to the hips, it is way too snug and it's causing this ripple effect. So definitely a sign that you need to size up a size. Something else that can quickly cheapen your look are these exaggerated belt loops. Sometimes they're not as bad and I just let them go, but for this piece, I feel like they are kind of an eyesore. So I want to hide that and make this look a little more expensive. So to fix this, grab some fashion tape. If you haven't seen my fashion hacks video, I use this a lot in that video. I will link it down below if you're looking for more fashion hacks. So you want to grab a strip of tape and you're just going to tape down the loops. So this is not a permanent solution, but if you're in a pinch, this is how you can kind of hide it until you can take it to a tailor. So I actually cut this piece in half, and now all I'm going to do is kind of cinch this down with the tape. So now when you add your belt over that, it will conceal it until you can take it to a tailor. So I'll show you guys the before and after. So now you can see this one looks a lot nicer than this little eyesore here. So now that you're looking fabulous in your Amazon clothes, you're feeling good and how you styled these pieces, now I'm going to show you guys how to take care of these clothes so they still look good the next time you go to wear them. So one mistake I think a lot of people make is just overwashing their clothes in general. No matter the fabrics, the more you wash pieces, the quicker they will wear out. So personally, I don't think you have to wash every single thing just because you've worn it once, especially when it comes to jeans or things that you didn't even wear very long, as long as they don't smell. If they smell, you can take care of that. But if the fabric is looking good, there's no stains, you can also refreshen it with the fabric spray I mentioned earlier, or just spot clean as needed. That will definitely help your clothes last longer, because whether you use the right cleaning techniques or not, washing them repeatedly is going to wear out your fabrics and your clothing a lot quicker. When it does come to washing your clothing, I typically do the same thing for all my clothes, and that is I just wash on delicate, on cold, and then I lay flat to dry, especially items like this material. If you go to dry this, it's just going to get so staticky for one. So if you have issues with static in your wardrobe, make sure you're not drying these pieces. Anything that's more like a sweater material or leggings, I typically just lay out most of my clothes, other than socks, underwear, t-shirts, pajamas. So I pretty much try to lay flat or hang most of my clothing. Now, I'm always particular about the clothes I hang versus laying flat. If there are fabrics that are going to stretch out, think sweaters, tops, like these you don't have to worry about as much. If it's like this chiffon material, I typically hang those up. But anything else, I don't want the fabric to stretch them out, especially over the shoulders. Or if I drape it around, I don't want it to kind of stretch out and get longer. So I typically lay flat those pieces, and then if it is this type of silky material, I go ahead and hang those as well. So I'll link the drying racks that I use down in the description box below. And then the next step you want to take is just storing them properly. If you have sweaters, I would recommend folding those versus hanging them, just because they will overstretch with time. I do have hangers, let's see, that round a little bit more on the corners, which can definitely help prevent misshaping of your clothing. But when possible, I typically hang cardigans just because it's just easier than folding. But when it comes to sweaters, I always fold those and just stack them up on top of each other. And then you also just want to hang up the other items. That way they're not getting wrinkled, laying on the floor, or draped over your chair, and they're ready to go and wear the next time you want to wear them. If you find the material came out a little more wrinkled, you can also go ahead and give it a seam right then and there, so you're more likely to wear it the next time, because I know I'm definitely guilty having items in my closet that are wrinkled and I just don't feel like steaming them, and then what happens is I just don't reach for those as frequently. So that's one way to kind of help you reach for your items a little bit more. And lastly, when it comes to taking care of your clothing, you always kind of want to do a maintenance check. You want to take care of that because it will definitely help you look more expensive when your clothes don't look worn down. If you haven't already got a fabric shaver, I highly recommend these as a wardrobe essential. They are very affordable. I think you can find them under 15 bucks on Amazon, and these will remove the pilling on your sweaters and coats. I use this all the time throughout fall and winter, and what happens is it has like a protector, so it's just going to remove those areas of wear and tear like pilling and keep your items looking new again. If you want to see the rest of my Amazon finds that I couldn't feature in today's video, give this video a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed. You can hit my little face up at the top there. That will subscribe you to my channel so you don't miss that upload. In the meantime, I'll link my Walmart try on haul right here, and you can click that for more affordable fashion.